Everyone needs to have some sort of basic emergency supplies on hand. Recent events with 2 major hurricanes hitting the United States have certainly shown us one thing. It's really important to make sure that you have some basic emergency supplies on hand and that you know exactly how to use them and you know where they're located at in your home. Just 2 weeks ago, I was messaging back and forth with my former roommate, Brenda. She's messaging from her idyllic little home in the Appalachian Mountains. And then all of a sudden, overnight, her community is ravaged by this hurricane. But that really made us realize, just talking with Brenda and having her say, here's what we had on hand, here's how that was to our advantage. It really made me realize that it was important for us to share with you what we do when a weather-related emergency is coming, how we prepare. We're going to kind of walk you through in this video step by step the various steps we take from we just hear an inkling that there might be some bad weather all through the bad weather situation. And we'll show you exactly what we have on hand.
No matter what you do, you can't be prepared for everything that might happen. But there's nothing wrong with being prepared as best as you can. If you're still able to stay in your home through a major weather event, it's good to have some of the things that we're going to talk about on hand.
But first, if you don't know us, I'm Hope.
And I'm Larry.
This is Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality.
Yes.
As soon as we hear news, there may be a storm coming, then the first thing we do, and this will probably surprise many of you, we go and we check our pantry. Here's why. People panic buy. They strip everything off the shelves of grocery stores.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you have an up-to-date pantry inventory, that you have organized your pantry in sections so that you can see immediately within about 30 seconds what you have on hand, what you don't have on hand. In case you want some information about how to organize your pantry, I'll make sure that I link a video to it up above and also in the description of this video. But I won't go into those details in this video. Suffice it to say, you need to go back, check your pantry, and see, are there any gaps that you immediately need to fill?
Another thing you need to check in your pantry, are there some items that you can make without electricity? Because you may not have the use of all of your appliances when you don't have power. So make sure there's some things that you can have that you can make cold and nourish your family.
I periodically go back to our pantry and look at it and say, if I did not have electricity, what is in here that I could make for my family? So do that exercise, and it's really enlightening. Here's something else you should have on hand if you don't: a manual can opener. People don't think about that when they are looking at their pantry. Make sure you have at least 1 or 2 good working manual can openers on hand and you know where they're at. Make sure you know the location of all of the emergency supplies that we'll talk about in this video. The next thing that we do after we have looked at our pantry supplies and determined, do we need to go to the store? While we're on the way to the store, we stop at the gas station and we
fill up our cars with gas, and we have 2 cars, so we make sure that those are full, because that's the first thing people will want to do, especially if there's an evacuation order. Then you'll want to be making sure you're gassed up and not waiting in those long lines.
As a general rule of thumb, we don't let our gas gauge go below
half
a tank. It's going to cost you the same amount per gallon to fill up that empty half of your gas tank than it is if you fill it up when you're on fumes.
Yes.
Make sure that your cars are completely gassed up, because that's one of the things that we saw, particularly in like Asheville, where those long
horrible
lines of people waiting to try to get gasoline, and then there were fights that broke out trying to get the gasoline. So make sure that your cars are all gassed up and ready to go. Here's something else that requires gas that we check on right away.
Well, we have a gas generator. Ours is a small gas generator. It's not a real big one. It's 3,500 watts with a maximum of 5,000 watts. So this one will put out power to run our freezer, our 2 refrigerators, even our washer and dryer can be run off of this generator. We also can run our microwaves, our coffee pot, all the lighting in the house, our TV set if we want to get information from the TV news to figure out what's going on, and charge our computer. So that is a good thing to have. Make sure it's gassed up. The one thing you want to make sure with a gas generator is that it's going to run for you when you need it in an emergency. I start mine up once a month. I also make sure that the oil's changed and fresh, and the spark plug has been changed every so often. It will run much better if it's been serviced. If you can't do it yourself, get some help to get it loaded up in a vehicle and take it to a lawn service, and they'll be able to service that for you.
This is one of the big mistakes that we have seen a lot of people make is they purchase a gas generator, they stick it in their garage, and they don't look at it again. We've had countless friends tell us, oh yeah, I have one of those. We're like, great. You know,
do you start it?
You started it. They're like, I don't know. I bought it 3-4 years ago and I've never taken it really out and even tested it. Make sure that you understand how to work all of your emergency equipment before the emergency happens, because that is not when you want to be figuring out how these things work.
Yeah, the gas generator is a little more complicated even than a lawnmower. I have to put it in a choke mode. I have to let it warm up for a minute or so and then get it off of choke. There's some things you have to do with it and make sure it's going to run. So I would definitely make sure that that's going to operate. That is our most important piece of emergency equipment right there. We've been without power for as long as 3 days here, and with that gas generator we kept going. We were fine. All of our refrigerators, we kept them running. We didn't lose any food, and Hope could cook. She could do all the things that she used to do. We could even do laundry. So this is a good item to have if you're able to have one.
We keep extra gasoline on hand.
Oh, yes.
Never, ever put gasoline into a container which is not specifically designed to hold gasoline, and make sure that you are storing that extra gasoline in a very safe place and in a safe way. Yep. But yeah, we keep extra gasoline on hand just in case. That's the other thing that we would immediately check on to make sure that our gasoline cans are full.
Absolutely.
All right, so this is all way before the storm even hits. This is when we first get an inkling there might be some bad weather. So we now have food on hand. We know where the manual can opener is. Very important.
We have power.
We know that we have some meals that we've checked that off the list. We've got some meals that are ready to go in the pantry just in case we're without power. And then we know for sure that the car's gas tanks are full and that the gas generator is pulled out, it's been tested, and it's ready to go. Next thing you want to be concerned about is lighting.
Yeah. With lighting, you want to make sure that you have something that you can keep power to. And one of our best lights, this is a lantern from Hybrid Light. And this light will work with a solar power cell that's on top here, a solar cell. You leave it in your window, and that light coming in the window keeps this charged up. Now, I haven't charged this in a long time, but the red light is on right now, showing that this is charging off of our studio lights. But if I press this once, it's going to be at the lower level, and then as you go up, it gets much, much brighter. This is a nice, handy emergency light to have on hand, and I would highly recommend this brand.
We've talked about this lantern a lot because we have bought multiples of this same lantern.
Oh, yeah.
It is from a small family-owned company
in Utah.
Yeah. And we absolutely love their products. Let's just say that you want something that is a little less expensive. Yes, you can go to Dollar Tree and you can buy those solar lights on a stick like that you use in your garden. You can bring those inside. Those will work. A couple of caveats with those lights. Some of those lights, as they run down, will start to flash.
Yeah.
And we had a viewer that said, I went to Dollar Tree, I bought a half a dozen of those lights. We had a power outage. I stuck them all over the house. It was great until they started to run low on power.
That was not good.
And they all started to flash one by one. And she said, it looked like a 1970s disco floor in my house. So just be aware of that. But yeah, those are $1.25, $1.50 each, and you can get those and they will work. Here's the problem with them.
They don't put out a lot of light for one.
Yeah, and they have to be in direct sunlight in order to charge. That lantern Larry just showed you.
It doesn't have to be in direct sunlight. It can be just even if it's a cloudy day, if there's any light at all coming in through the window that I keep it in, that will keep it charged.
We set it in our windowsill. We never have to take it outside. We just set it in our windowsill all the time and it stays charged. And it will keep a charge, which is what we really like.
It's really good.
You can also get these. We got a pack of 6 of these. I think they were from Harbor Freight. Super inexpensive. Here's what I like about these. you can stick these. There's little tabs on the back. You can stick them on your wall.
Or you can put a nail in your wall and hang it. You can either stick them or hang them.
It's what you're accustomed to seeing. It's like a traditional light switch, and you just flick it on when you need it for emergency lighting. Those, and clearly the disadvantage of those is eventually going to change the batteries.
We have to change the batteries in this one.
We got it out, and he said, "Are you going to turn it on?" I said, "Nope, it's dead." So
it's dead. So we have to change it. It takes 4 AA batteries. And I would recommend keeping non-rechargeable alkaline batteries in this one. They'll hold their charge a little bit better.
And we haven't talked about that in a while. Just short sidebar, guys. The reason that we say don't use rechargeables for this is because rechargeable batteries are best used in items that you consistently charge. If you have something and you're not going to use it very often, it's not worth putting the more expensive rechargeable batteries in this. So there you go. Have extra batteries on hand too.
And speaking of rechargeable batteries, this is another flashlight from Hybrid Light. This is just more of a standard flashlight. It has 2 power levels on it, low and high. And once again, this has that solar panel, and I keep it in the window with that lantern, and this stays charged up. I haven't done anything with this in months. We just hauled it out of the window, and there it is, fully charged and lighting up. The other thing that I carry this LED light with me all the time in my pocket, because there's so many times where I'll get into a store and I'll see something on a shelf and I can't see it because it's not lit up very well. I keep 2 of these Any-Loop rechargeable batteries. These hold their charge the best of any rechargeable brand battery that I know. I keep these 2 in here and I keep it charged up. And this is very nice to have. If we lose power suddenly, all I have to do is reach in my pocket and I've got lights. Another really good way to light up your area is with just like a hanging LED light.
Those are kind of made for camping, but
we
have found uses for them around the house.
Yeah, and this has a switch on it, and all you do is, I got a power bank. I have to turn the power bank on, and then with the power bank on, that lights up, and it lights up about 7 watts of light. It's pretty good. I actually can read by this, and we have a whole bank of these. You can buy a series of maybe 10 of these in a line and plug them into your portable power bank, and you've got some pretty good area lighting for your room. So this is another item good to have. I keep 2 of these in our kitchen all the time. So if we lose power, Hope has to just plug one of these in, and she's got lights right there, and she can make a meal.
And I have cooked using just those hanging light bulbs in many power outages in this house. It actually works really, really well.
Yeah.
One of the things you want to do, other than be concerned about lighting, is you want to make sure that your devices are charged to 100%.
Yes.
If you're going to rely on your cell phone to get information out to family and friends and let them know you're okay, you want to make sure your cell phone is charged up to 100%. Make sure your computer is charged up.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, we discovered, especially in the recent hurricane, that cell phones were useless because the cell phone towers were absolutely obliterated.
And they had no service at all, unless they went to a special city where there was some service. But in Asheville, they had no cell service.
Here is one of our tips we really want to give. In any emergency situation, you should have one designated person that is a friend or a family member. Everybody else in the family, all of your friends know that is your one designated contact.
Yeah.
If you are able to get somewhere to where you have a cell phone signal, you do not want to have to think, oh my Lord, I got to call all 4 kids. No, you want one person.
Yeah.
And everybody else knows that's your one contact. That's the one person you're going to make that phone call to when you can get cell phone service and get a message out and say, we're okay. Then everybody else contacts that one person.
That's a good idea. Another item that's really good to have in an emergency, bad weather particularly, is an emergency battery-operated rechargeable radio. And this is a very simple unit. It kind of has an older design to it. It's got a built-in antenna. And this has shortwave as well as AM and FM. So you could even pick up some shortwave signals. I'm not sure how good shortwave is anymore, but it does have the weather channel on it. And the weather channel would be really good to have.
This hazardous weather outlook is for central Illinois and west central Illinois. A few of the storms may be strong or locally severe, with brief wind gusts to around 60 miles per hour.
You just simply turn it on. Once again, this also has a solar panel on it, so you can leave this in your window and keep it charged up. And it has some lighting built into it. You have an area light on the back, and you have some lights on one side you can use as a flashlight. Very handy piece. I can power it with a battery bank, or I can use the built-in rechargeable batteries that I have inside here.
And it has a crank on it too, doesn't it?
It has a crank in order to get power to the built-in batteries that the radio comes with, so you can power those up. This is an extremely handy device to have.
We bought that from Amazon. The hybrid light, of course, is from their store. We got this from Harbor Freight, packages, 6 of them. I know we're showing you things from a lot of different areas, so we're going to make sure that we put links to these products.
Right.
We'll put it in the description of the video in case you want to pick up something that is similar to what we're showing.
And the hybrid light, the lantern we were showing you, you can get a little discount if you use our code.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for mentioning
when
that.
When you purchase that. Yeah. So that does make it handy. And once again, that'll be in the description of this video.
One of the things we mentioned before we move on is a checklist.
Yes.
It's great to have something like this, where everybody in the family knows where it's located, everybody knows what is on the list and what you have available. We also have a second checklist that we use that says lighting. Here's how many of these we have. Here's where this is located in the house. Having this like an emergency preparedness like little book that you have put together and you put it someplace where everybody knows where it's at is super important. Now, if you like these forms, you can get a set of these forms for yourself. Here's what we have put together for you. For the past 3 years, we have offered our home energy savings bundle along with 2 winter emergency preparedness guides. And we have offered that for our Black Friday special. Well, because of the situation and because we had so many under the medium viewers said, please tell us basic prepping and what we need to take into consideration, we decided we're not doing that for Black Friday. We're moving it up to right now. We're keeping our Black Friday price, guys, $27 for the whole bundle. But here's the deal. We want to help people who are boots on the ground right now, who are helping those who have been impacted by Hurricane Hallam. So we're inviting you to partner with us to send a gift to help those folks who are frontline right now. We have given seed money, $100 of our own money. We have primed the pump. For every bundle that is sold, we will donate an additional $5. $27 for the whole bundle. Out of that $27, we're taking $5 off right away and we're putting it toward this fund. Yep. So if you want to partner with us, the link for the bundle will be in the description of the video. Now, you'll notice that some of the things on our checklist we haven't covered yet. So let's talk about some of the other things you need to be aware of other than you need to have lighting and you need to have everything charged to 100%. And what if you don't have a gas generator, can't afford one, or you're in a situation where you can't bring one into your apartment?
This is where you're going to need some extra clothing, especially in the colder weather. So we would recommend looking up all of the blankets that you might have around your house, finding a place for those so everybody knows where the extra blankets are. You can wrap up in those and stay warm that way.
One of the things you need to determine is what do you need to keep running in an emergency situation. That's going to determine how much power that you need. Now, we mentioned what happens if you're in a situation where you can't own a gas generator. You're going to want to have some portable power. And that's why we tell you one of the first things you need to do is figure out what in your home absolutely needs to be powered in an emergency situation. This is an example, of course, of a portable power station. This is from Opus. We own several of the Opus units. This, by the way, was sent to us because we did a review on it. So Opus did send this to us, but we use this all the time. It's permanently plugged in our family room so we can run lights and things like that off of it. This is 1200 watts. This is going to be able to power some basic things for you. Portable power units come from all the way from like 500 watts all the way up to 5,000 watts. So you'll need to do your research and figure out exactly how much portable power that you need.
One thing nice about this one is that it has a built-in emergency light on the back. And this, like I say, lighting is something you really need. And look at that. It has 2 different levels of lighting, and that is very handy. So if you can find one that has the LED lights built in, a lot of them are being made without those now. But this will power and charge up your cell phones, your small power banks like the one we used with that light. It'll charge up your computer. You could run a coffee maker off of this. As long as you have some sun outside, if you get the solar panel with this, you'll want a 200-watt solar panel or two 100-watt panels. You can charge this up in a matter of about 4 hours outside in good sun. This is very handy. This is the first portable power station we ever had, by the way, and it's still working just great.
Let's just say you're not even going to be able to get one of these. You can get a portable. This is solar powered.
Battery
now
bank.
they don't make this particular one anymore, so I'll try to find one that is as like it as I can get. While Larry's opening that.
Well, that is
a solar panel.
This
It's
is
really
a solar
nice.
rechargeable power bank, and this is very handy. A lot of these power banks have built-in lights, as this one has. That has a built-in LED light on the back, and then you can charge up 2 USB items on it, and also a micro USB. It doesn't have the USB-C, it's because it's an older one, but it works great. We do use it all the time. We have a couple of these that we bought, and you can hook your keys up to it as well. So very, very handy to have.
Other thing that is important is don't forget that one of the ways you can supply power is your car. Go out to your car, make sure that you have one of the adapters to plug your cell phone and use your car battery in order to charge your cell phone up.
You could do that.
There are various things that you can do in order to supply yourself at least with some cell phone capability and some basic lighting. That unit will stay charged for a little while, but then that's what's nice about that unit is it's got those solar panels.
Well, I actually haven't had that. I haven't used it in many, many months, and it's still holding a full charge. So it holds a charge really well, and that will charge up your cell phone too. And then you can solar charge that and keep your cell phone running by the sunlight, which is really handy.
One of the things you want to think about is if you have a well, unless you have a backup pump to your well, backup power to the pump, you're not going to have water.
That's right.
So make sure that you are filling up cooking vessels right away, that you're filling up your bathtub, that you're making sure that you have buckets of water available. So if you are rural, you need to take some different things into consideration than those of us who live in the city. And as far as that kind of thing goes, it's not a bad idea anyway, even if you live in the city, to have some water, some buckets of water filled if there's an emergency.
If you don't have access to bottled water, you can get a water filter system that will filter out just pond water. You can put pond water in it, and it will filter that out and be drinkable. We have one of those. Yeah. It filters out about 99% of all impurities.
When it comes to water, it is a really good idea to have some cases of bottled water.
Oh, yes, yes.
And I know every time we say that, it's like totally controversial when we say it for some reason.
I don't know why.
But one of the things that shocked us personally, years ago, we had one of those monsoon rains come through. Mm-hmm. It was a Drago rain or something.
Yeah.
And there was a special name for it. We live on a hill, and the rain careened down there. And in a matter of about 30 minutes, that rain had eroded and ripped up huge chunks of asphalt from the road. The main road.
To our neighborhood.
We had hardly an ability to get in or out of our subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
The only other main artery that attaches to our road, it was flooded.
Yeah.
And it shocked us, the power of water
how
quickly it can rip up infrastructure.
And it can isolate you. That's why you want to have some things on hand in order to get through a situation like that.
Some of the other things on our list are related directly to winter power outage situations.
Yep.
It's all in the guide, so you'll be able to check that out specifically when you get the guide. One of the things that I think is a concern to a lot of people is how to stay warm. Now, we did an entire video on how to stay warm in your home without turning on the furnace. This is like that time period right before it's getting a little chilly outside. Everybody's complaining because they're cold. And you have a goal date where you don't want to turn the furnace on until you reach a certain date. That's what this video is all about. We gave, I think, about 40 different ways you can stay warm without turning on your furnace.
Yes.
That video is right over there.